Hi friends! Now that we have seen the artwork of American artist James Rizzi, we are ready to begin our own silly cityscapes. A cityscape is when you draw or paint a picture of the city. Today our goal is to get all of our picture drawn. So next week we'll be ready to add color using our watercolor paint. So for today you need paper and something to draw with. Since we're going to use our watercolor paint, I would recommend crayons if you have them. A permanent marker would also work. But crayon works great with watercolor paint, so that's what I'm going to use today. Let's get started. When we are creating our cityscape, you can think about all the different kinds of shapes and sizes that buildings come in. I have some example shapes drawn over here. Let's start with a simple one. On your new paper, somewhere on this edge, let's make a really simple rectangle building together. If you're using crayon, you want to make sure you're taking your time to press nice and hard so you get that wax on the paper. When you're ready to add your next building, I'm going to start with my crayon somewhere on this edge. So I'm going to put it on that same line. I might pick a building like one of these, or I might come up with a different building of my own. So I am going to start my next building right off of that same line. Mine's going to go up like this. You can make a building that matches mine, or you can create your own kind. When you're ready, just like before, I'm going to add another one. I'm going to start somewhere on this edge. Some buildings can be skinny, some buildings can be wide, some can be tall, some can be short. And if you still have room left, you might be able to fit one more in. If you're all out of room though, that is okay too. Now we have buildings going across the entire front of our paper. Let's add one building overlapping. When something is overlapping, that means it's in front of something else. Right now, my hand is overlapping my other hand, so you can't see it all the way. We're gonna make a building in the back that's farther away, so we're not gonna see the whole thing. We'll just see the top of it where it sticks out. I'm gonna make my building that's being overlapped by starting on top of one of the buildings I already drew. My pencil is right on top. I'm gonna make the edges of my building, and as I go back down, I need to stop once I crash into another building. Oh, right there for me. Awesome. If you want, and if you have room, you could make a second overlapping building, but I think I'm gonna leave mine right there. Now we are ready to start adding faces, like all the silly expressions that James Rizzi creates in his cityscapes. Let's start with eyes. I know you boys and girls are really creative and you know a lot of ways to make eyes. If you have your own ideas, you can use them, but I've put together a couple ideas to help you here too. So one house at a time, you can add some eyes to your buildings. If you need more time to draw eyes on your building, you can pause the video here. Next up are noses. Again, I have a couple ideas for you, but of course, if you have your own idea, you can be creative and come up with your own way to make a nose. If you need more time to add noses to your buildings, you can pause the video here. When you're ready, we're going to add the last part of our building's faces, the mouths. I have a couple ideas for you here, but you know tons of ways to create mouths, so feel free to be creative. If you need more time finishing the mouths on your Rizzi buildings, you can pause the video here. When you're ready, the next thing we're going to do is add some detail in the space that's left on our buildings. When you're adding detail on your buildings, you can add windows. You might even add details at the top. So take a moment, use any shapes that you want. When you finish all of the details on your building, take a moment and think about what you might want the sky to be like in your picture. What's the weather going to be outside? Is it sunny? Is it nighttime? Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is there a rainbow in the sky? Take some time and think about, what do you want the weather or the sky to be like in your picture? Using crayon, you can add any details that you want to your sky, but we don't want to color the whole thing in. We're just adding details. I'm gonna make a night sky. So I'm gonna draw some stars. You could draw birds in the sky. You could try to draw a tiny airplane flying high in the sky. And here's a magic trick. If you draw with a white crayon and you press really, really hard, when we use our paint next week, the white crayon will show up in your drawing. So I'm gonna make a crescent moon. I know you can't see it, but you'll have to wait for next week. It's going to appear when I paint, just like magic. So take a couple moments, any extra details that you want to add. Use crayon if you have it. Permanent marker will also stay still when we use our paint next time. And when you feel that you're all finished, you can tuck this in a super safe place, because next week we're gonna pull them back out and we're gonna add color to all of our buildings and our sky using our watercolor paints. I can't wait to see you next time. Put your art in a safe place, and I hope that you had fun.